Welcome to our conversation on jealousy in relationships. And how it's not just a negative force, but also a chance to tap into our deeper vulnerabilities.
Absolutely. There's this idea that rather than avoiding jealousy, we can, lean into it to better understand ourselves and our partners.
Exactly. The insight here is that every person has enduring vulnerabilities. And when we acknowledge that in ourselves and in our partners, jealousy shifts from being something destructive to like an opening for
Mm.
connection. It's as if jealousy tells us, hey, pay attention. Here's something meaningful to address.
So basically, it's a signal rather than an alarm bell.
Right, absolutely. Instead of fleeing from jealousy, you can see it as an invitation to explore why those feelings exist, which is really grounded in your past experiences, low self-esteem, and even unrealistic expectations in the relationship.
Yes,
It's like
indeed.
turning a red flag into a map to personal growth.
I like that analogy. It reminds me of when you have a minor issue that, if left unchecked, can become a bigger problem. But let me ask, what about those unhealthy behaviors that jealousy sometimes drives?
Good question. Unhealthy behaviors like sneaking through your partner's phone, insulting them, or constantly grilling them about their whereabouts are examples where jealousy becomes a toxic habit rather than a helpful signal.
Mm.
It's vital to be mindful of those behaviors so you can address the underlying vulnerability instead.
And if these behaviors are persistent, it sounds like there could be a deeper issue in the relationship.
Absolutely, and that's where open communication really comes in. Being transparent about your triggers, like talking about past wounds or insecurities, is a fundamental step in managing jealousy in a healthy way. When you
Right.
engage in honest dialogue, you can start to understand each other's needs better.
It's fascinating, really. They even, reference the work of Brené Brown, who says that vulnerability is the birthplace of love and belonging. That definitely gives jealousy, which often feels chaotic, a more constructive role.
Exactly. When you think about it, vulnerability isn't a weakness. It's a wellspring of courage. And the idea is, if you understand why you feel jealous, you can manage it in a compassionate way, both toward yourself and your partner.
Mm.
It really transforms the way you see these emotions.
I find that really powerful. But don't you think that sometimes this approach might overlook the need for boundaries? I mean, can vulnerability alone solve issues that might really require defined limits?
That's a good point. It's not like vulnerability is a magic fix by itself. In fact, while embracing vulnerability, it's crucial to also establish healthy boundaries. For example, ask yourself if your jealousy is based on real events or just unfounded fears. And if certain boundaries, like privacy and
Right.
respect, are being crossed, those need to be clearly communicated.
So, the idea is to balance understanding your internal vulnerabilities with setting clear, respectful limits on behavior.
Exactly. It's like having a roadmap where you know where your triggers lie, as well as what you need to feel secure. And when you do that, you can share specific needs with your partner using what we call I statements. Like, I feel anxious when I don't know where you are, rather than blaming them. It helps in
Yes,
making the
indeed.
conversation less accusatory and more about mutual understanding.
That makes total sense. And it reminds me of that famous notion from Khalil Gibran about needing space in togetherness, like you need a balance.
Exactly, Khalil Gibran said, you need spaces in your togetherness to sustain your bond. It's a neat reminder that being together doesn't mean being inseparable 24/7. And in
Mm.
fact, that balance is exactly what can help ease the sting of jealousy, because it sets realistic expectations.
So, if I get it right, part of managing jealousy involves questioning if those feelings are based on facts or just assumptions?
Yes, precisely. Ask yourself, is that so? Like, is your jealousy justified in that moment? If not, acknowledge the thought and then, let it
Yes,
go. It's a mental exercise that turns a negative loop into an opportunity for clarity.
I love that approach because it's empowering. It puts the control back in your own hands rather than feeling victimized by your emotions.
Definitely, it's about transforming jealousy into a tool for personal growth. And when you talk to your partner about these feelings, you're building trust. After all, every time you choose transparency over secrecy, you're investing in a stronger foundation. It's
Right,
not about
absolutely.
blaming, but about connecting over your shared vulnerabilities.
You know, it's interesting that the advice also emphasizes recognizing when jealousy is a normal response to behavior that genuinely harms trust.
Yes, indeed. In a good enough relationship, there's an expectation of kindness, love, and loyalty. When your partner's actions stray from that, it becomes a signal that you need to talk about it before it transforms into resentment. It's essential to voice
Mm.
your feelings before they snowball into something destructive.
And on that note, the advice is also to stick to I statements when addressing these feels, right?
Exactly. Instead of saying, you always do this, it's way healthier to say, I feel unsupported when. This kind of phrasing helps prevent your partner from getting defensive. It keeps the
Yes,
dialogue
indeed.
open and centered on how you're feeling.
Now, what about situations where jealousy manifests as controlling behavior? I mean, isn't there a risk that the act of questioning your own feelings might not be enough?
You're right, that's a major risk. When jealousy leads to behaviors like invading your partner's privacy, like checking their messages or constantly accusing them, it can become very unhealthy. It's then not about managing your own vulnerability, but rather about controlling them. In those cases, seeking
Mm,
help from a Gottman-trained therapist can be really beneficial.
that makes sense. Professional guidance can really help navigate those tricky waters, ensuring that both partners feel valued and respected.
Exactly, and interestingly, the resources mentioned, like the Gottman Relationship Advisor or the Gottman Relationship Coach, offer structured approaches to improving relationship health. They even provide step-by-step digital programs to help you identify strengths and weaknesses. It's like having a roadmap to deeper
Right.
connection and trust.
It just goes to show that with the right tools and mindset, even something as challenging as jealousy can actually lead to a healthier, more intimate relationship.
Absolutely, and what I find truly compelling is this perspective that vulnerability, rather than being a flaw, is the root of not just jealousy, but also of connection, creativity, and even accountability. It's a
Mm,
paradigm shift that turns what we often see as a weakness into a strength.
well said. But let's play devil's advocate for a moment. What if some people feel that identifying these vulnerabilities is too, exposing or even risky in a relationship?
That I get, but here's the thing. Avoiding vulnerability only tires you out over time, and it builds walls. While it may seem risky at first, sharing and owning your vulnerabilities can actually lead to greater intimacy and trust. It really is a
Yes,
courageous act to open up and say, this is what hurts me. This is what scares me.
I suppose it's a balance between exposing enough to build intimacy while still protecting your emotional well being.
Exactly, and that's where self-awareness comes into play. By understanding our triggers, like past painful relationships or a poor self-image, we can preemptively manage our emotions. It's a constant, ongoing process
Mm-hmm.
of recalibrating expectations and boundaries.
And this whole restructuring of jealousy, from something purely negative to an opportunity for self growth and deeper connection, feels really empowering.
Yes, truly empowering. It takes a bit of work and self-reflection, but it's worth it. By honoring both your own enduring vulnerabilities and those of your partner, you actually create a foundation of trust and resilience.
Absolutely.
It's about evolving together.
And I think that's a key takeaway. Rather than letting jealousy tear you apart, you use it as a signal to, um, check in with yourself and with your partner, cultivating an even stronger bond.
Exactly. It's like turning a moment of insecurity into a chance for growth. And that ultimately is what builds lasting love, honesty, vulnerability, and continuous conversation.
Right. This discussion really sheds light on how deeply interconnected our emotions and our relationships can be. It's a reminder that sometimes the most painful feelings can lead to the most incredible growth if we allow ourselves to understand them.
Absolutely. And to our listeners, remember that when you feel that pang of jealousy, it's not a flaw. It's a doorway to better self-awareness and deeper connection. Stay curious, stay honest, and put that relationship first. Thank you for diving into
Yes,
this with me.
indeed. Thanks for this enlightening conversation. It's been truly rewarding to explore these ideas and share insights that can help us build healthier, more understanding relationships.